Everybody, it's Mike Kennedy. I'm here this morning with the 259th Five for Friday legal ethics quiz. It has been a while since I've posted a quiz. Feels like 259 months since I have. That's not today's intro. I just have not been motivated to blog this summer. Today, though, trying to get back into it. I put this shirt on. It's a race I ran a couple of years ago. Name of the race was Get Your Rear in Gear. It was meant to raise money for colon cancer research. So a pretty catchy name. I'm hoping that maybe by osmosis, it helps me get my blogging rear in gear and get back at it. Okay, housekeeping matter. You'll notice that I am not in the garage bar, which is where I do many of my videos. The garage bar is otherwise unavailable. I'm not going to go into the story why. I think someday I will. I think I can spin it into a story that I somehow relate to legal ethics, professional responsibility, or one of the weekly quiz numbers. But I'm not going to do that today out of respect for the first brother. So the first brother, I don't know if he reads the intros to the quizzes or if he will watch this video. He may, like a lot of people, skip straight to question 5. Who knows? That's fine if you do. I love y'all anyway. But he might watch this, or he might hear from somebody who does watch this. So I can't put the details in because they're so fresh. The garage bar only officially became unavailable about 12 o'clock yesterday, 12 noon. A series of events that began on Monday involving the first brother. They're so fresh that if he has to relive them again or knows that I'm putting him out there, he might have a heart attack. And I don't want the first brother to have a heart attack this week at all. I mean, right, brother of the year. I don't want my brother to have a heart attack, but it's too close. Someday we'll get to the story. Someday we'll be able to laugh about it. Today is not that day. The silver lining, however, is I get to share with you not just my deck, but my plants. I took up a little bit of gardening this summer. Not a lot, just a little, easing into it. And maybe you can see some of the results. So my gardening is limited to my deck, down on the ground where the deck meets the ground. There's some plants down there. They look great. I can't remember their names, and I'm not going to show them to you now. I should be able to remember their names. You would think that a competent gardener would bother to learn the names of the things that he's growing. I haven't done that. Up here on my deck itself, not in the ground, I have these planters. So until about a month ago, there was nothing up here. And then for my birthday, my mom gave me a planter. You know how they work. They're like a saddle that you put on the deck railing, and there's a planter hanging on one side and a planter hanging on the other side. You plant stuff in. I liked the one that my mom gave me so much that I bought 4 more, and now I have 5. I'm doing it as such. I have on the outside plants that are very colorful. You can see some right back here. I put those on the outside so that the people, whether they're walking by, running by, biking by, whatever, can enjoy the color. On the inside, I have spices and herbs. Again, like the plants that are in the ground, I can't remember the names of the plants that are on the outside. Incompetent gardener. I'm getting there. I'm learning. I'm like a 1L of gardening, I guess a 1G. On the inside, though, I have learned. See, that's how good I am for becoming. I know the names of my spices. I'm going to name them off for you right now. There are actually 7 that I'm going to name. I don't want anybody saying, Mike, you said you only have 5 planters, but you named off 7. Don't get all lawyerly on me. There are a couple in which I planted more than one type of spice. So over here, I have sage and mint. Right behind me, I have some basil. I would like, if anybody can see that, these things that grow at the top of the basil, are those basil, is that basil itself, or are those things that are gonna, like I can clip off? I don't know. Anybody who might know, let me know. Behind me, I have some cilantro and some scallions. Down there, I have some rosemary and some chives. You might have heard me emphasize rosemary. There's a reason. So my rosemary is awesome. That's the reason. Many of you will remember the bread video where my bread included rosemary. And the rosemary tasted good, but I didn't enjoy working with it, as you'll recall. Thought it was in an odd package, and why would you sell it at the size they sell it at if I'm just gonna have to chop it up even more anyway to make my bread? None of it made sense to me. Again, the taste was fine, but I think because of the other things that didn't make sense to me, I let that affect how my brain perceived the taste. My rosemary out here tastes fantastic, so I'm looking forward to using it in the next time I make bread. Speaking of the first brother, and one final aside. Here's how fantastic my rosemary tastes. I've known all along since it started growing how great it tastes. I want other people to know too. So there's a bar near here that I sometimes stop into, and sometimes I meet the first brother there. About 10 days ago, we met over there, and I brought with me in my hand some rosemary. I picked her up the plant and brought it with me, and I basically put it right on the bar, and I told him he had to try it. Because he, I assume, has the same type of reaction to that situation as 99.9% of the population of the world. He looked at me like I was a nut. What are you doing? Why are you putting rosemary on the bar and you expect me to taste it after you just walked 10 minutes and held it in your sweaty hand? No, I'm not going to taste it. Great point. I understand that it's, not exactly normal behavior. But that's how much I like it, that I just wanted him to try it. And to his credit, he did try it. Since I'm being honest, I think if he were honest, was the presentation different? Yeah, it was. Do a lot of people have brothers who show up at a restaurant or bar and make their brother taste some plants they've grown and have carried to the bar in their hand? No, I get that. I get that that's not normal. But if we're being honest, bro, I mean, you take the presentation out of it, tasted pretty damn good, didn't it? That's how good my rosemary is anyway. And I look forward to making more bread with it. Anyway, that's my garden. So that's what we're doing out here today. So it's all going to work out even though we're not in a garage. Okay. Today I want to talk about lucky numbers. So many people who've read the blog or heard me speak know I'm superstitious. As I always say, Michael Scott, I'm not just a little stitious, I'm superstitious. And my superstitions often involve numbers. I have a lot of numbers that I consider lucky. I have a lot of numbers that I consider unlucky. There are very few numbers about which I'm neutral. I've wondered, are lucky numbers even a thing? Like, am I just weird? Like, people who have superstitions, where do they come from? Maybe I'm just a weirdo, or maybe it's because I associate the number of an important date with good luck, so I consider that to be my lucky number. Or many of my lucky numbers are the numbers that, when I was a kid, the athletes that I looked up to wore. I think that's probably normal, but I don't know. I've always wondered, where does lucky numbers come from? Where do they come from? I think my mom would tell you that, Mike, you're just an Irish idiot, and that's that Irish blood in you that makes you have silly superstitions. And she might be right. There might be some merit to that. However, Mom, I just learned today that in fact, science, mathematicians, who are the scientists of math, they recognize lucky numbers as being a thing. So, story for another day how I got doing this research, but I've got onto it. And because I'm getting my rearing gear, I stuck with it because I thought it was blog worthy. Turns out it is. So, mathematicians don't write very clearly. Lawyers get a lot of crap for writing and talking in legalese, being too confusing. Mathematicians are worse. Done a lot of research into numbers. I'm no expert, but I've done a lot of research into them. Why? Well, for this blog. I always try to tie the Friday intro to the week's number, and that's resulted in 259 weeks worth of research into numbers. And one thing I've learned is mathematicians are impossible to decipher when they write, when they're explaining what their stuff means. I did, however, find a very simple explanation for what a lucky number. That's to say, you can go and look, and there's a very, very complicated definition of what a lucky number is. I had it. I was going to read it. That would take away from the blog. Look up a guy named Euler, E-U-L-E-R. That's his last name. The first entry you'll find is one of Euler's lucky numbers, and it's a formula that I don't even know why it would be a definition, because I don't understand what any of the individual words mean, and I certainly don't understand what they mean as a collective whole. Found another site though that had a better definition that really explained it. In science, math, the lucky numbers are numbers that survive a sifting process. You know, we'll put the numbers through a sieve, and what we're left with at the end, those are the lucky numbers. And here's generally how it works. Now, there are different rules you can apply to have different types of lucky numbers, but they're all in the sense that every application of a rule through a sifting that results in a sifting process gets you to certain numbers that have survived the sifting process, and we call those lucky numbers. That's what a lucky number is. I think I just got off track there. But anyway, here's the base. Here's how it works basically. Let's say you have all the numbers written down, 1 through infinity. 1 automatically gets to survive the sifting process. Why? I have no idea, but it does. So you go to the next number. 2. Okay, 2. We go back to 1. Because 2 is the number we're going to apply, we will now remove from the group, sift out every second number. So 1, you get to stay. 2, you're out. 3, you get to stay. 4, you're out. On and on and on and on. Then we're going to do it again. What numbers have survived? We have 1, 3, 5, all the odd numbers. All right, 1, we've already decided you survive. 3, you get to survive now too. We're going to keep you. But we're going to apply the same rule that we did with 2. We're going to go back to 1. And this time, because it's 3, we're going to remove every third number. So 1 gets to stay. 3 gets to stay. 5, you're out. 7 and 9, you get to stay. I mean, excuse me. 7, 9, yeah, you get to stay. 11, you're out. You guys, you get the picture. But I'm going to go one more. Here's why. 13 and 15, you get to stay. 17, you're out. Why did I go one more to tell you that 17's out? Because 17 is one of my lucky numbers. And for a variety of reasons, well, mainly one reason, March 17th. I'm struggling though today. I'm now well aware of the inherent conflict between having a lucky number that is, well, of having a lucky number that science, math, Stu Euler have said is not, in fact, a lucky number. And you know, I don't know. Can 17 remain in my stable of lucky numbers? I'm gonna have to work through that. I'm gonna have to get through this personal struggle on my own. But first, I'm gonna finish this this video, this 5 for Friday quiz, because I'm getting my rear in gear. Okay, so anyways, you just keep on doing that. You keep sifting out, sifting out, sifting out. You know, we're taking out every third number, every, and whatever the next one left would have been. So 1 stays, 3 stays, 5 and 7, you're gone. I mean, 5's gone. 7, you get to stay. So that would be the next one. And then we remove every 7th number. And you just keep doing that over and over and over and over again. And then you're left with a set of numbers that are called the lucky numbers. I'm sure you can all tell where this is going. But what are the odds, man? What are the odds? 5 for Friday, number 259. The first time I've ever heard of the concept that science actually supports the notion of lucky numbers. That number 259, the week's quiz, is in fact one of those scientific lucky numbers. That's it. Thanks for checking out the flowers. If anybody ever knows the answer to this, what are these things on the top of my basil? I'd love for you to email me and point that out. You'll make the honor roll if you do. Do I snip them off? Are they going to turn into basil leaves? What is it? What is the answer? If you want some rosemary, let me know. I'll get it to you. It's awesome. And have a great weekend.